Hello, today I'm showing you my garden. It's June 2020. All the plants that you see were started from seeds. When we lay out the garden, we dig holes where we want to put the plants. We fill them with water. When that water drains down, we put eggshells in these holes to keep the tomatoes from getting blossom rot. A couple of weeks have gone by, and you can see here to the far left we have beans. These started from seeds right out here in the garden, and they're coming up nice. To the right of the beans we have cherry tomatoes, and right here in front of us we have pepper plants. Let me zoom in here a little better. There we go. These pepper plants were started from seeds, but they were started in the house. The same thing with the cucumbers. But we did drop a few seeds in there. Now this eggplant, I have trouble every year with these eggplant. If anybody has any suggestions, I get these little black bugs on them that eat through the leaves, and it seems to be a problem every year. These are cherry tomatoes here along this back part of the garden, this back wall. Then we have some slicing tomatoes over here. Going back a little ways, we have plum tomatoes that we use for canning. Everything's coming up really nice. It's only been a few weeks. Now this garden's a lot smaller than it used to be, what we used to keep. But this serves our needs, and if it's a good year, we have plenty to give away. See this dirt over here? This dirt's kind of rough. And every year when I finish with the garden, where the plants are, I dig out these rows and I fill them with mulch and some chicken manure and whatever I happen to have. Back here I started a compost hill, but we dug it up and we planted these butter squash seeds in here, and they're coming up pretty nice. Everything's coming up nice. Okay. Here comes Tank. Gotta get him out of here before he starts breaking some plants. Come on, Tank, let's go. I'm picking up tonight where I left off the other night. It was getting late and looked like it was going to start raining, so I cut it off. What I was doing was pounding these bed frames into the ground to hold up these tomato cages. These tomato cages, some of these old ones are the stiffer material, but they're beat. I had these for years. And some of them are these lightweight ones, which they don't hold anything. Once the tomatoes start coming up on them, these cages tip right over. So I have a couple of long frames that I left like this. So if I want to run a string across the middle to keep the birds out, depends what's going on for the year. And you can see what's going on here now. I have the bed frames into the ground, and I'm just using some string to tie the cages onto the frame. And this is just to support these cages once these tomatoes start getting heavy on the vine. Now, turned out pretty good. I left a few of them without straightening them out. 2 days passed since I started this video, and you can see over here how these are growing out from under the cage. You want to keep them on top, because once they get a little too thick, you're not going to bend them in there. And it defeats the whole purpose if you have large tomatoes out here and it goes down to the ground. Now last year, I mentioned earlier that I had a problem with blight. I got the tomatoes from a local nursery. I got the plants from a local nursery, and it was pretty bad. Now, I already trimmed the bottoms of these up a little bit. I think I'm going to trim this again. This is a little low. From what I was reading and everything, you get in the blight from when the rain hits the ground, splashes up onto the plant. But I think those plants I had last year came with blight. Okay. Everything's looking pretty good. And if you don't have access to these bed frames, I ran short on them, you can use pallet wood. Another use for pallet wood right here. Just split one of the boards and pound it into the ground. I didn't even bother trimming it up. I had one that was split. I ripped it by hand. I didn't feel like going for the axe. But anyway, the bed frames will work better when you have rocks in the ground, unless it's something directly under it. The bed frame being metal will push the rock to one side or the other. The wood, on the other hand, usually just gets jammed up. But it works just as well. I have another piece of pallet wood over here. And again, you don't need them all the way up. These are, if I'm not mistaken, these are going to be the cherry tomatoes here. And see how this is coming along. This is a problem I have every year with the eggplant. I get these little bugs that eat these leaves up. Now I sprayed these plants, and like I mentioned earlier, that kind of defeats the purpose of having the garden, because I try to do it without any spray. But if I don't spray anything on it, I won't have eggplant again. These are the cucumbers that we started as seeds in the house and brought them out as plants, and we're getting a few cucumbers that are growing under there. We planted some as seeds, so we would have a rotation of the cucumbers coming in, so you don't get them all at once. These are starting to bud already. We're getting flowers. This is coming up nice. These are the peppers. We planted kale over here, but nothing came up. Nothing came up on the kale. The peppers are coming up. The beans are coming up nice. These are beans my wife has from her mother's garden from years back. She just saves the seeds every year, and these beans are delicious. I'm not sure what this is over here on this pepper. If anybody knows what's causing these conditions, or any suggestions at all, post your comments down below. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'll answer whatever I can. As you've been following my channel, it's more of a small engine repair than gardening, but I do what I can, and I'm open for suggestions. This year I didn't have any ghost peppers. The seeds, I don't know what I did with the seeds from last year. They disappeared. Somewhere there's a packet of seeds for the ghost peppers. And that's about it for now. This garden's a lot smaller than what we used to do years back, but it's what we need, and we have extra to give away when everything turns out right. And this is something over here. I think I showed this earlier. These plants here are squash, and they're coming up pretty nice. I had to fence it off. I have some chicken wire on the bottom of that fence, right on the bottom there, to keep the rabbits out. This is to keep the deer from coming in, because they'll come in and they'll eat everything. What they don't eat, they'll break by walking around. And that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. Give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe, and be sure to hit that bell icon not to miss any videos as I upload them. Until next time, everyone, stay safe.